Remember when rewriting your square roots in exponential form that you're always going to use power over root. So x to the 1 power under the square root can simply be rewritten as x to the 1/2 power. Likewise, x squared under the cubed root can be rewritten as x to the 2/3 power. When you're given variables with exponents in fraction form, remember you can rewrite that to get everything in the numerator by just changing the sign of the exponent and bringing it to the top. So it can be rewritten as 2x to the -3rd. Okay, here are two of the most common ways you will see derivative notation expressed in terms of x. This top one is very common, and when you're given this bottom one, a function of x, you're just going to rewrite that as f prime of x. This little tick mark here just means prime. It means you're finding the derivative. This and this are the same. When you're finding the derivative of a constant and there's no variable involved, just remember that the derivative of any constant is going to be 0. Doesn't matter what that constant is. When finding the derivative of a single variable with a coefficient, just remember that if there's no exponential value, the derivative is always just going to be the value of the coefficient attached to the variable. Okay, when taking the derivative of a variable with an exponent, you want to follow this simple procedure. You want to take the value of the exponent, bring it down in front of the variable. If there's a constant there, just multiply the two together. So 5 times 2 is 10. You want to rewrite your variable, and you want to subtract the value of the exponent by 1. So our answer here is simply 10x to the 1 power. We just don't write the 1. Down here, remember we can rewrite this as x to the 1/2 power. And then we just want to follow the same procedure. Bring down the 1/2, rewrite our x, subtract the value of the exponent by 1. And in math, we don't generally want to leave our exponents negative. So remember that we can drop that exponent to the denominator to change the sign back to positive. Rewrite this as 1 over 2 times x to the 1/2 power, which is the same thing as 1 over 2 times the square root of x. Okay, here we're given a function of x and we're asked to find f prime of x. Remember, f prime of x is the same as the derivative. When we're adding and subtracting terms, we can take all those terms individually. So we just want to multiply the 4 by the 2, 8x, subtract the value of that exponent by 1, 8x cubed. We've done this one before. Remember that the derivative of square root of x is 1 over 2 times square root of x. And remember that any constant is just going to be 0. So this is our final answer. I remember when taking the derivative of any constant, you're always going to get 0 as your answer. Whenever you're finding the derivative of a variable with no exponential value, your answer is always going to be the value of the coefficient. Here it's just 1. Down here, remember that when you have the exponential value, here we just have some value of n. You're going to bring that value down, rewrite your variable, subtract the value of the exponent by 1, and that's going to be your answer. If you remember these few basic rules, you'll have the power rule down. You'll be ready to move on to more complicated stuff.